So guys, here I was being called a crazy person for suggesting that the OCG banlist wasn't that great, and exactly what I thought would happen did actually happen. You can see it right here in the new metagame breakdown, but also in this little breakdown here that is even newer and consists of a few more data points. And yeah, it's exactly what I talked about, and we have seen the week before it was even a more extreme where Ryzeal, which was the best deck before the banlist, is now by far the best deck, and it was close to 50% at this 1 week, and we have Maliss at 13.8%. So yeah, we have this new tier 0. You can't really call it tier 0 because it would need to be around about 50 or 60%, but it's obviously the strongest deck, the most played deck, Ryzeal, and then Maliss, both of the decks that were unhit on the list. And we have Voiceless Voice back with 4.9%, Labyrinth with 4.0, and you can see here's Memento branded, Temper Dragon with 3.1, and Snake Eye and all Snake Eyes variants are basically gone. And this is exactly what I thought would happen, and a lot of people were like, oh no, that's not what will happen. Ryzeal was only good because it was so great into Snake Eyes, but turns out that Ryzeal is just good, and now we have the Ryzeal Maliss meta where these bottom decks here, they yeah, just about get more percentage than the Maliss deck and don't even reach to the Ryzeal percentage. Here we can see that we also have Centurion here, Fiendsmith, Jubel, and where is our, here's Fiendsmith, Asamina, Snake Eyes, 3 of them. Yeah, the meta has definitely changed a lot, and we will obviously take a look at that right now. And this is what I talked about. Don't get me wrong, the OCG banlist was very nice, and I think it would have been a very interesting banlist in the TCG, but I would also have wished for a better addressment of Ryzeal as well as Maliss. Then again, these are new decks, I am aware, but I think if they would have hit Maliss and Ryzeal a bit, or maybe only Ryzeal and maybe a bit Maliss, so Ryzeal definitely needed a few more hits, I guess then we could have a very diverse format right now, as it kind of looks like that. But then again, we have these two big powerhouses here that just came out. I guess a lot of people are happy with this, concerning the fact that we have played against Snake Eyes for the entire year. Even more, the OCG had this even longer because they had it earlier than we do in the TCG and Master Duel, and I guess people are just happy to play different decks. But yeah, this is what we are currently at, so we just changed up one for another one, the only difference being that this one is a new one, right? And we have not really played against it a lot. I guess this is the only difference. And you can see right here, we can, I guess, take a look at the Maliss deck, the Ryzeal deck over here. It's really very interesting. Obviously, we have the Fuvalos, which we will get in the future. They have in the side deck also Fuvalosses. They have the Maxi at 2 now. Obviously, we are still playing to Maxi. It's just that great. And then we have these little level 4, rank 4 guys that go into the rank 4 XYZ toolbox. I really like how the deck works, given the fact that basically you are locked into your rank 4 toolbox, which means you can't have access to the most insane boss monsters that are available in the game. Keep in mind that the Baron de Fleur, for example, is still legal here in the OCG, but this deck doesn't allow for any of these plays. But you have to use this toolbox, which is very strong, but then again, not really crazy. This is just a very consistent deck, giving you the ability to go into 2 level 4 bodies that then can go into these monsters here, the boss monsters that can destroy stuff. Then you have this monster negate field spell, the Ryzeal Cross, which was a side deck card before, but now a lot of people are playing it in the main deck. We still have a bonfire here because one of them is actually a pyro. 2 of them are the Ice Ryzeal and the X Ryzeal. It makes sense that the Ice Ryzeal is a pyro, I guess. But yeah, we have the Ryzeal deck right here. We can see it is here at the top spot. We are drawing a Rockbird in here, and this is basically kind of the same list as we have seen before. Then again, they are only playing one of the field spell, which you want to have on your end board, because this is your monster negate. And then we have a Maliss. If you're not aware, Maliss is this link-based dimension shifter. Banish these Maliss cards, and if they are getting banished, then you can special summon them. You can also banish them by the effect of the other Maliss cards, be it traps or be it the monsters. We can see a lot of Bestials in here. We are using Bestials because, okay, these are lights, I guess, okay, and the other ones are fire. I guess that's not bad, and also a lot of the extract monsters are kind of light and dark. Interesting that we are using that many Bestials. So, and we have cards like Haggard Lizardos. If you're not aware what that is this one TCG exclusive card. They have just recently gotten the new TCG exclusives in a specific pack. A lot of them that they hadn't up to that point. For example, also the new Underworld Goddess of the Closed Worlds, the little one, the Moon. They also didn't have the Moon, and they got the Moon. Oh no, they had the Moon. Sorry, this is my bad. The other guys that we used in in the Fiendsmith deck, the fusion guys, the Necrocrypt Princess, as well as the there was another one that was used in Jubel. Basically, they also have these now, have the ability to use them. But yeah, this is the new meta game report with these two top decks here, and we even have it's so dominating here that they didn't even bother to show more of the other decks. And we are playing Dimensional Barrier as well as Simul Archfiend here in the side deck, just because we then can call XYZ, probably to get rid of your opponent's XYZ summoning mechanic from the Ryzeal deck. I think Ryzeal is pretty cool. I think the artwork of the cards are actually quite nice. So I'm very happy when these cards come. Something to keep in mind, a very important point actually, is that Ryzeal as well as Maliss came from a deck building pack, right? Like Pearly and Rescue Ace did. And the thing is that normally when these new archetypes come out, they are not that strong. So for example, Pearly was good in the beginning, but definitely needed a set or an additional support wave in order to become better. This also was true for Rescue Ace, only with the second support wave from the next main pack were they able to dominate as they were able to. A really good deck at that time, Rescue Ace that is. And with these here from this deck building pack, Ryzeal as well as Maliss, their first wave is just so strong that they are already the best decks in the game. And this is something to keep in mind. Ryzeal and Maliss will get new support, I think, within the next big set, which should be Supreme Darkness. We already have some reveals for Supreme Darkness. We also have these reveals that we will get new cards from Supreme Darkness that even the OCG does not have at this current moment in Master Duel at the end of the month. If you have not seen that, check out the video in the top right corner. But yeah, pretty crazy. You can see the Zuda announcement are already here. We see Gladiator Beasts, we see Orcus, Six Samurai, so a lot of old cards, a lot of old archetypes getting support. I'm really hyped for Gladiator Beasts. I always found this archetype to be pretty insane. But I guess in this Supreme Darkness set, we should, if I remember this correctly, get the new support cards for Ryzeal as well as Maliss. I mean, it could also be the case that they are just not that great. They would definitely need to be very powerful in order to even make it into these decks, because they are already good. So I guess if the decks are very good from the get-go, like Maliss and Ryzeal, it's a bit more unlikely that an additional support wave will push them up even further, but this obviously could be the case. And then we could look at a different meta here, an even stronger meta where there are even more Ryzeal decks, even more Maliss decks, and even less of these, let's call them diverse decks, since Voices Voice, Labyrinth, Memento, Branded Temper Dragon are decks that will not get any more support in the near future. And if we take a look at these, for example, sure, Gladiator Beast, Orcus, Six Samurai, and something like we also had the White Forest will get a new wave. That's something, I guess, or Tenny cards, right? I mean, those cards, if you have taken a look at them, they are definitely good, but they will not push these archetypes like into a top tier position. So I guess this Ryzeal Maliss meta in the OCG is here to stay, and it's exactly what I talked about will happen to the OCG meta once they have the new ban list implemented here. But as I already said, I guess the OCG is just happy to play something else but Snake Eyes. I hope that we don't remain in this Ryzeal Maliss meta for as long as we have remained in this Snake Eyes meta, because that would be a bit boring. And you can see with a few more data points included, I think they always do a nice job here, pointing out a bigger part of the pie chart here. We can also see that there is Scareclaw, Rika, Blue Eyes, Jubel, Draco Slayer, Sky Dragonflaw, Norreese, and others. So you can see that there's definitely a nice diversity going on if we exclude this top bracket here of Ryzeal and Maliss. Even Blue Eyes in there winning tournaments, which I think is so funny. I'm very interested in seeing when we will get the new Blue Eyes support cards. It's so funny. We had a major disagreement in our friend group. We're talking about which card was it? This card here. This was a bad translation, so this is something I will always remember, where our friend group basically had a crazy discussion because we were definitely understanding this card a bit different. But yeah, I think the meta could be quite nice, but we can only hope that the second support wave for these decks are not too crazy and that we are not too long in this Ryzeal Maliss orbit. But let me know what you think. What was your expectation when you saw the ban list. A lot of people were very hyped, did like the ban list. I also did, don't get me wrong, but this is exactly what I was guessing would happen. And I thought that this was actually something that we didn't want to happen, but Konami decided different. Let me know in the comments what you think of the current OCG meta. Do you think it's better than the Snake Eye dominated one and Tenpai dominated one, I guess, or do you think it is worse? I guess you could argue it's better also because Tenpai is not a big player, or not as big of a player as they were before, with major hits coming down to the field spell and Chandra going to 1. Obviously, at some point, Tempo Dragon doesn't really work anymore if you hit enough pieces. This is something that will probably happen to the deck in Master Duel as well at some point. Obviously not now, but remains to be seen. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you like my videos, please consider subscribing, hitting a thumbs up and the notification bell, as this would help me out a lot. And obviously, guys, we will see each other in the next one.